Welcome, Avidor Rabinovich.
Hello,
Avidor,
hi.
hi. Avidor Rabinovich holds a degree in electrical engineering as well as an MBA from the University of Haifa. He is currently VP of Business Development at Tensor Technologies. He's also a lecturer at the Max Stern Yezreel Valley College. Avidor is an entrepreneur, having founded GemSense and also most recently Happy Seniors. He's been engaged in the Internet of Things, otherwise known as IoT, for more than 5 years. And he consults in that industry and brings his engineering and business skills to bring new technologies to life. He has experience working in the Israeli high-tech industry, and he understands how to build a product, taking it from the methodology and bringing an idea to an actual product. He knows all about prototypes, the engineering, and how to build a business around that. Welcome, Avidor. You have quite an interesting background. Can you tell me a little bit about where you were raised and how you came to become an engineer?
Yes, of course. So first of all, Debbie, thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll tell a bit about my background. So basically, I was born in Israel, but my parents came from USSR, today is Russia. And when they came to Israel, one of the most important things for them was that their kids get very high education, because in the USSR, for Jews, if you wanted to succeed, you needed to be well educated. So basically, my parents pushed my brother and myself to get higher education. It was something which was obvious. So basically, I finished my BSc degree in electrical engineering in the Technion, and I did it before my army service, which is not something usual, because in most cases in Israel you study after the army service. I studied my first degree in engineering before, and then I went to the Israeli army, to the Air Force, as an engineer, and engaged there as an engineer, and use my skills there to actually work on technical things.
Wow, I didn't know that about you. That's really interesting. So you were in the Air Force. You've really used your engineering skills in many different ways. Did you always want to be an engineer? I know that your parents pushed you that way, but did you gravitate naturally towards engineering?
Yeah, I was always technical, even as a kid. I always played and tweaked with computers and built software. And as a kid, I used Lego a lot. So yeah, so it was always a passion. It was not something that I was actually pushed to. I knew that I wanted to be engineer, and of course, it's also something that came from home, because my father was a mechanical engineer, but my brother is an electrical engineer. We can say it runs in the family.
I love it. So I know that you work with the Internet of Things, or what's called IoT. I don't know anything about that. Can you tell me about that? What is it?
Yeah, so IoT is actually, it's a huge hype in, I think, like 5 years. If we talk about internet, internet is basically connecting a lot of components in what is called a distributed network. So basically, components are computers, laptops, your smartwatch, your cell phone, all those things that we use every day, and we connect them to this big network called the internet. Now, the Internet of Things is basically the next evolution. Internet of Things talks about connecting everything to the internet, to the digital side, basically connecting the physical world to the digital world. And everything can be the chair that you're sitting on. It can be sensors that are placed in a volcano or in a smart city. It can be the glass that you're drinking. The main motivation behind Internet of Things is to collect huge amounts of data and use this data to better our lives, to predict things, and to actually assist us in our daily living. Take, for example, your car. Most of us, take the car for repairs every, I don't know, 10,000 miles. Now, if our car was part of the Internet of Things, our car could have told us when it needs to be fixed, or maybe if it doesn't need to be fixed. So Internet of Things is connecting our physical world to the digital world, collecting data, and using this data to predict, prevent, and to better our lives.
That was a terrific description. I now think I get it. Thank you for explaining that. Do you have any recommendations for kids who might be interested in engineering or STEM or any of the fields that you work in?
Yeah, the great thing today is that everything is pretty much easier than it was in the past. Since we are all connected, all the information is there. So today you basically can learn almost anything by yourself. And what I recommend is to follow your passion. It's important to study, that's true, but you can also study by yourself and actually learn things without going to school. And I can give you an example. Basically, one of my most talented employees, I employed him when he was 16. He dropped out of high school because he couldn't, actually he couldn't socialize with the kids there. He also had some problems, going to the army, but he's extremely talented, extremely smart, and he learned everything by himself. And I'm working with him, I think, for the past 5 years, and we're always laughing. Today he's like 24, and we say that he has like 30 years of experience, because all he's doing is developing things and building stuff. So he's the most talented engineer I have ever met. He didn't learn anything, or he didn't have a degree. Today he's like doing his first degree, but he learned everything by himself. And he's a maker of things. He builds drones, he builds 3D printers, he's a hacker, he's building games, and he did all that by himself. He's like an autodidact. So what I'm saying is, don't discourage if you're not that good at school or if you don't like what you're studying. You can basically learn by yourself and be the best doctor, engineer, or whatever by self, being self-taught and studying by yourself.
That's really good advice. I appreciate that you talked about that, that there are options for kids. How can people find you and more about the companies that you run and more about the work you do?
So basically, talking about Internet of Things, this is one of the major things that I'm doing right now. And so we have our own company, which is called Iotera. You can basically go to our website. And the cool thing that we are doing, we are actually building an open source platform for IoT, which basically means that we are providing you, makers, developers, people that wish to build cool stuff, we are providing the building blocks of all those things. Most of the building blocks are open source. You can actually get them from GitHub, download and start working. And our motivation is to enable you, makers, developers, to build smart devices. So you can find us at Iotera. You can go to our GitHub page, and basically you can use our assistance and knowledge to build your next billion-dollar startup.
Wow, thank you. Another way that you can get in touch with Avidor is on our website. You can send a message through Ask a Mentor and send him a question. You're an amazing engineer who does so much outside of engineering, bridging the gap between business and engineering. And I want to thank you for your time with this podcast, and thank you for being a mentor with the Mentor Project. And I want to thank you for all the great work that you do. You're a wonderful person, Avidor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. And if you need assistance, we are there for you.
Thank you so much.